Years ago today that Mary Lance disappeared, and today there are still no answers as to what happened to her. She was declared dead in 2011, but it's still an ongoing investigation. And this morning we're joined in studio with private investigator Jim Carlin to talk about the case. So thank you for coming in to talk about this, Jim. Let's just start off with where this stands. We did this a year ago. We sat in the same location and talked about what's happened to Mary Lance and the case involved here. Anything new a year later?
The family and I met with Prosecutor Gilbert and Jim Schwartz of the Marshall Police Department. They assure us this is not a cold case. They are actively working it. I believe it. I believe this is going to be the year. I say it every year, but I think this is the year that they are going to charge the person or persons responsible for her murder and disappearance. The thing that bothers me the most is that Mr. and Mrs. Marshall are starting to ail as they get older. I worry that one or both of them might go to their grave never being able to put Mary into a final resting spot and grieve and talk to her and laugh with her. This case is not rocket science. The police know who the perpetrator is. The information and the evidence that I've developed in 17,000 hours of volunteer time in 11 years today has no doubt in my mind that the boyfriend did it.
Yeah, it's not dancing around that. Chris Pratt is the guy you're talking about right now, right? That's who you believe, and that's who you've made accusations on this show before, that it's Chris Pratt, and the police have said that he is a person of interest in this case, and yet he is out of jail, and he's on parole right now. In 6 months, he'll be off the hook.
That is correct.
So what gives here? Why not? Why hasn't he been charged in this case?
I guess that's a question you'd have to ask Dave Gilbert and the Marshall Police Chief. I just know in looking into their eyes, they are dedicated to solving this case. And as I've told Cliff and Anita Marshall, I think one day in the very near future, we're going to get a knock on a door and say they've made an arrest. My hope is that when they charge the person or persons involved, that there'll be enough leverage that this was a fisticuffs, just like the other lady that he went to jail for 6 years. It got out of control. He punched her out. She fortunately survived. He went to prison. I think if they would put some pressure on him, ask him, bring the body to us.
Well, you know, when we're talking about that, and so they say it's not a cold case. You've been in contact with them. You feel like they're doing everything they can in this case then?
I do.
So we still haven't gotten anywhere, though. It's kind of amazing. It's got to be frustrating after all.
Oh, it is. I mean, you know, I just continue to hold out hope. As I say, I'm more worried about Mr. and Mrs. Marshall's health. And then,
well, that's something that you're alluding to as well. There's not going to be a memorial right now. Usually there's been some kind of vigil that is held, basically, for Mary Lance at this time of year. Not doing it this year.
No. Last year, Craig Kemp Funeral Services allowed us to do it inside the building. We had that freak snowstorm. This year, again, with the late problematic winter, we decided to wait until the spring, maybe about 5 or 6 more weeks, go back to the Circle Fountain, have a tribute there with law enforcement and the supporters and our friends, release the balloons on a much more milder day.
You don't have an exact date on that yet?
No, I don't, sir.
Okay, but you'll let us know.
I shall.
And of course, we'll let everybody else know, all our viewers.
Yes.
All right. Jim, we appreciate you coming in here and talking about this on the 11th anniversary of her disappearance. We certainly do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And good luck in that investigation. It is